Peace and love and namaste. Hey, Tom in my town here. I'm Peter Panagore, MD. MD. I am not a doctor. MDiv. And welcome to this thing I might call not church today. Thanks for being here live, and to all you who are going to watch this later. If this channel feeds you, please give some support. Thanks. So, Jesus, Rumi, Lao Tzu, Meister Eckhart, Kabir, and the writer of Matthew, and the desert mothers and fathers all walk into a bar and they say the same thing about unlocking human spiritual growth potential. That's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to continue to unlock all this stuff. Hey, Holly. Good morning, Susie and Betty and Robert again. Hey, audio loop. Got an audio loop going. Is that what you're saying? Hey, Jimmy. I have the birds running out outside today. If the cars start to get too loud, because it's people are coming back out here, opening up their summer homes, and there's a lot more traffic. If it gets noisy, I'll quiet the birds down a little. Hey, so we begin with practice, a little bit of practice, kind of bring our prana up. Rest inside the presence of the divine, chant 3 ohms, and then today ride your spine, down your spine, back up again, about 3 breaths. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for liking and subscribing. Hey, Robert, audio loop. You're still in the audio loop. I don't know, brother. Good morning, Michael Powell over there in Ireland. I hope that nobody else is stuck in the audio loop too. Here we go. 3 ohms to begin with. Thanks for being here. Breaths. Drive your breath up to your brow. Create space inside yourself. So let's take a look at Thomas first, the Gospel of Thomas. Thomas 37. Yeshua, that's from the Aramaic. His name, Jesus, in the Koine Greek Gospels are, well, it's like calling me Petros. But my actual baptism name, my birth name is Peter. So Yeshua from the Aramaic, Yeshua's disciples said, "When will you be shown forth to us? And when shall we behold you? When will we behold your original self, glory, radiance, frequency, light, Christness?" Yeshua said, "When you strip naked without being ashamed, and take your garments and put them under your feet like little children and tread upon them, then you will see the child of the living. And you will not be afraid. Most of us are afraid to strip off our clothes, especially in public. Most of us are afraid to strip off our clothes and dance on them like little children. Maybe you've seen such a thing. A child suddenly strips naked in the middle of the grocery store and screams and yells. No shame there. Strip yourself back to your original innocence, naked and unashamed, trampling on who you thought you were. Then you will see yourself as a child of the living one, and you will not fear. And this is true. I know, because it is my story. But how does one do this? This all happened to me. The seeing of the living child with a capital L, the living one, happened to me in my first near-death experience. And I returned here seeing myself as a child of the living one, and hence my problem with being here for so long. Seeing myself as I am. So I practiced stripping naked, that I might see the living one inside myself and be seen by the living one. The inner oneness journey is the teaching of Jesus and of the ancient oneness mystical geniuses. In Thomas, in this particular saying, we're encouraged to embrace this state of innocence, purity, and authenticity, much like a child. But how do we do that? I can't see you stripping naked in the grocery store. I can't see that. Maybe I don't want to see that. The metaphor of nakedness shows the shedding of worldly concerns, ego, social conditioning, and as we seek to become more spiritually aware, we become more connected to our true inner selves. But again, how do we do this? Is it through action? Like, should I take off my sweater and my shirt in front of you? That's not it. Taking off our clothes and putting them under our feet symbolizes our overcoming of the barriers that separate us from our spiritual nature, our original selves. And what separates us? Ourselves. The thing that's in the way is me, my concept and understanding of who I am. This is the thing in the way. These barriers to self, they can also include societal expectations, material desires, and other aspects of life that can distract us from our spiritual path. Now, you can do this. You can strip naked on any nude beach. Heck, I had a conversation with a guy just the other day. He's going off to do this very thing. Get a little sun, he said. Or you could do this in the privacy of your own home. Strip yourself. Try it. Consider it maybe behavioral therapy. Now, behavioral modification is a psychotherapeutic intervention model to eliminate or reduce what they say is maladaptive behavior. If there's anything maladaptive in the spiritual life, it's the idea that the self is actually who you are, the false self. Self-behavior modification focuses on changing our behaviors without, and here's the key part, without considering our own thoughts or feelings. Changing our behavior without considering our thoughts or feelings. Am I feeling embarrassed? Do I think I shouldn't do this? It's a different kind of nudity that I'm talking about. Strip yourself of yourself. A simple act. Do a simple act. Go out of your way to help someone. Hold open a door for somebody. That's just a simple act. That's a stripping of self. Why? Because you're giving your time, because you're looking them in the eye, because you're saying, I'll hold this door for you, even though I'm in a hurry and you're 5 steps away. Hello, chickadee. Act with kindness in the world, and you will become kind. It's a fake it until you make it sort of situation. Behave in the world with selflessness, and one becomes more selfless. Set your mind on the light, and you will become the light, which you already are. As above, so below. What you think, you become. Where you set your priorities, that's what you are. Set your mind on the light and become that which you already are. Remember yourself. Remember yourself. Remember. Take these different parts of yourself, this higher self and this lower self. Remember them. Put them together. Remember. Put the two parts of yourself together and make one. This balance point, this is the one place in between your higher self and your human self. The deeper source of separation isn't outside of ourselves. We can behaviorally modify ourselves in the world, and that's very helpful. But the real source of separation is not out there. The source of separation is us. The Maya illusion of the false self, which manifests as society, not just the physical world is the Maya of illusion. It is, of course, but more so the social collective blindness is a Maya that's even more blinding for us. Set yourself outside of that. Strip away from yourself and find yourself stepping outside of this, the collective societal blindness. When you do that, though, let me warn you, when you do this, the world may think you gone mad. Oh, you may be gone mad. He's a crazy guy. He's a crazy guy. Why? Because he gives kindness to others, because she lives to help a little bit, because she's no longer buying into the idea of duality. Stripping naked brings the divine power of healing us. It heals us. The stripping naked heals us from our expectations, desires, and distractions. The work it's ongoing for all of us who are enfleshed. You know, as long as you're enfleshed, even if you're enlightened or self-realized, living heaven here on earth, you still got the problem. I'm still stripping naked. I'm still stripping naked. I'm stripping naked of myself because I have so much veil between me and it as being a human being. Jesus' words, little children, this emphasizes the embracing in action, behavioral modification, embracing a childlike state of openness, humility, and vulnerability. When you hold the door open for somebody, you're literally showing openness. When you're opening the door for somebody, you're being service-like. This is a form of humility. And when you're opening the door for somebody, you're making yourself a little socially vulnerable. Openness, humility, vulnerability, characteristics of childhood. Acting in the world with openness, humility, and vulnerability lets us become more easily connected with the light in the world that lives inside of everything and everyone, most particularly in living things. Plants, bees, butterflies, chickadees, human beings. Furthermore, behaving in the world with an open humility and vulnerability, it helps us experience the very living of the presence of the child of the living one. This experience of you become the child of the living one. You experience this. Remember, they're asking him, when are you going to show yourself to us? And he says to them, when you act like a little child, stripping yourself naked of yourself, then you will see the living one. You will see the child of the living one, not the fullness of the oneness of being. You'll see a filtered version of this through human beings. We see a filtered version through human beings. We see the childlike innocence inside ourselves, and we become healed by this. We become healed of our own wounds. And he means with the child of the living one, he means your soul, your higher original self. This is where the healing is when one strips one of oneself. Attachment to oneself. Behavior modification theory applies, but always remember this: stay safe in the world. It's a dangerous place out there. It's beautiful, but it's also dangerous, and never put yourself in harm's way. And always be on the lookout for those narcissists. Now, there's a subtext to all of this, and we've been touching on this all the way through. The subtext, it's not just this external action in the world, physical behavior modification. Act with kindness and one becomes kind. But more to the point of Jesus' saying here, it takes openness, humility, and vulnerability to abandon the small self. You have to be open to the divine. You have to be humble to think that you're not this false self, and you have to be vulnerable. You have to be willing to give up the thing that you think you are. And that's a hard thing to do. I've spent my whole life trying to learn how to do that. And I can tell you this, it works. It works and provides courage and strength. And one does this by stepping aside. How do you do this? You step aside, breath after breath after breath. This is what the practices are all about. The chanting of the Om, the prana practice, the breathing, the meditation, the Kriya, all these things, they're all about stepping aside in the same way that when you hold open the door, you're stepping aside out of the way of the person coming. And there's no good if you're opening the door and you're standing in the way. They can't get in the store then. You open the door, you step aside. That's what this does. This opens the door and helps you step aside, breath after breath. And then what happens is you end up trusting in the providence, with the capital P, trusting in providence, that you're going to be caught in the glove of God. And I can tell you again, because I can only speak through experience. I can use these texts and reference them and help you understand them. But really, truly, mystics teach through experience. They teach what they know, not what they're guessing at. That's why I kept my mouth shut for 40 years, because I didn't know that these breath practices that I've been practicing actually do what I thought. They do. They strip me naked of myself. And then what comes? He finishes this. He's like, and don't be afraid. Do this thing and don't be afraid. Then comes fearlessness. Fearlessness is an outgrowth of this. And this fearlessness produces this openness, humility, and vulnerability in social situations. You're holding the door for somebody. You're fearless about it. You're fearless about anybody judging you who might be watching from afar. Look at that rube over there helping somebody out and getting nothing for it. It brings one to detachment. Detachment from expectations, desires, distractions, and outcomes. And I get rid of that airplane. Bye, airplane. The inner and outer circle continues to turn, one feeding the other. Behavior modification aids the interior journey of selflessness, which aids the behavior modification, and one feeds the other, and around and around and around it goes. Yeshua says, don't be afraid. It's not like a negative thing. He's always Mr. Negative. He's always talking to these negatives. Mr. Negative. You're always so negative. Jesus. Why aren't you going to be afraid? Because a profound peace replaces this. It replaces the fear. And it lives inside us. And then this reintegration comes. This reintegration of your higher self with your human self. When I died, I came back living. Most of me was on the other side. And I was witnessing my own life. My integration process had to be finding a way to be in the balanced place between the two worlds. This reintegration comes from embracing the living innocence undressed as your originally naked self. It's not in the world, really. It's really in the divine presence. Undressing oneself, stripping oneself. When I was in the presence of the fiery eye of the divine nature, the purgative fire of divine love, I was naked. No part of me was hidden. All of these things were burned off of me. I didn't need them. They're in my way. And when they were gone, then this enlightenment, this union settled into me, became me. This enlightenment or self-realization, it's the goal of spiritual growth on earth. And it's going to be better when we die. At least it was for me. But the goal on earth is to grow as much as I can in order to live more fully here, to feel the full flash of it, to live in the radiance of it. And after, it comes with these after gifts. It comes with these after gifts that are constantly giving this low level unity of the presence of the divine, giving this interior feeling of profound peace. It doesn't change my outside world. I still get sad sometimes. I still get upset sometimes. But way down inside of me, accessible to me, is this constant state of knowing of timelessness, a living eternity inside yourself, the inner peace that gives you the confidence to live connected exteriorly and vulnerably in the world. Now, ancient mystical geniuses, I promised I would talk about these guys, men and women. These ancient mystical geniuses from all these different traditions, they all share this similar idea. And listen to what I have to say here with the ear of your heart. Lao Tzu from Taoism. Be content with what you have. Rejoice in the way things are. When you realize nothing is lacking, the whole world belongs to you. Chapter 44, the Tao Te Ching. Rumi, Sufism. The minute I heard my first love story, I started looking for you, not knowing how blind that was. Lovers don't finally meet somewhere. They're in each other all along. The essential Rumi. This is inside of you all along. Looking out there somewhere. Seek and ye shall find. That's the interior journey. Seek here. Meister Eckhart, Christian mystic, 1200s. God is not found in the soul by adding anything, but by a process of subtraction. Knowledge doesn't help. Subtraction of self helps. These are the selected writings of Meister Eckhart. Kabir, the poet, the Indian mystic poet. Inside this clay jug are canyons and pine mountains and the maker of canyons and pine mountains. All 7 oceans are inside, and hundreds of millions of stars. The acid that seeks, the acid that tests gold is there, and the one who judges jewels, and the music that comes from the strings that no one touches. And all is the source of all water. All of this is inside there. The millions of stars, the strings that aren't touched, the unstruck bell that vibrates on its own. This is all inside of you already. And that's from the songs of Kabir and the desert fathers and mothers from the 3rd century in Egypt, not far from where the Gospel of Thomas was dug up in 1945, and Nag Hammadi, not far away from there. But Anthony said, "A time is coming when men will go mad. And when they see someone who is not mad, they will attack him, saying, 'You are mad. You are not like us.'" We are the mad ones in that story. We're the mad ones. And in Matthew 18, verses 2 to 4, Jesus, this ought to be familiar to you if you grew up in a church. Jesus calls a little child unto him and says, "Except ye be converted and become as little children, ye shall not enter the kingdom of heaven. Whosoever therefore shall humble herself as a little child, the same is greatest in the kingdom of heaven." And this is not in the future. This is not after you die. This is, well, yeah, it is that too, but it's now. This conversion is now. To become like a little child. When this happens, one enters the kingdom of heaven now, the realm of the divine. Now, how do you do this? How do you enter in? How do you become naked? Once upon a time, I read that Kriya Yoga was the quickest way. And so I chose that path and practiced on my own. And it's made me naked. It's made me totally naked. You can't see that through my clothes, or you shouldn't be looking. But it makes me naked. Breath, prana, pranayama, chanting, om, anything that negates my attachment to myself, but in particular, the silencing of my thought. Because in those moments, that's when the divine living one becomes present to me, to you. These mystical geniuses, they all of them, that's important to know. They all highlight the importance of these themes in spiritual growth, from awakening to self-realization. They all talk about the same thing. The oneness mystics, those who are in pursuit of union. I recognize and embrace the universal aspects of oneness mysticism. These things, Jesus was not alone in teaching them. Do you recognize the oneness mysticism? Let me know in the comments. Let me know if this course of action that I'm taking, this comparative between the Thomas and the Gospels and other teachers, if that's valuable to you, if it helps you on your spiritual journey. Let me know. I need to know. I want to know. I want to know if this is helpful. I want to know if not church is a good name for this. If you think another name is better, another name is better. Um, yeah, our exploration today, if it's inspired you to reflect on these timeless teachings and consider how they might apply to your spiritual path, then please join in giving support using Patreon, PayPal, Venmo, and Zelle. You can find all of that at peterpanagore.love. You can book a time to talk with me directly at peterpanagore.love and subscribe there too. And thank you. next week, next Sunday. Sort of a surprise to me, April 26th. Not terribly a surprise, but it's sort of because I had it on the wrong date in my calendar. Oh my God, I keep making mistakes in my life. I'm going to be away next Sunday. I'm going to be attending my nephew's wedding way across the country. And then the following week on Sunday, May 7th, I'm going to be sequestering for my movie producers again. So I'm going to be gone for 2 Sundays in a row. I'll have something up for both those Sundays. And graciously, Dr. Kendall Gilligan will host Mystic Chai Salon on those 2 Sundays on Zoom. Thanks again, Doc. You're a mensch. And today you can join us at the top of the hour for Mystic Tea Salon. It's a worldwide community sourced wisdom experience, and it all comes from direct experience from the source. Everybody who's been touched by the divine has this mark inside them, a portion of the truth. We have humility, compassion, and kindness as our house rules. And you can come join us if you've had a spiritual experience. If you're shy about talking about it in public somewhere, we're a place to do that. Everybody gets voice here. And the link is in the description below. So peace and namaste, my dear friends. I'm Peter Panagore. I'm going to take a peek over here. Hey, Tom. I see Tom first. I've known Tom for forever. Not forever, but for a long time. My mind is dropping many thoughts today, taking many notes and jotting thoughts down. Good. Excellent. Oh, my gosh. I just made my screen super huge. I have no idea how I did that, but at least I can read your words. Mary S. says, yes, love these Sundays. They're wonderful. Thank you, Mary S. Love this. Thank you, Ellen. Just what you needed today. Excellent. Candyman, God. Yes, valuable and helpful. Thank you, Martha. Reading a book, says Candyman. God took my clothes. God took your clothes. So okay, I don't know. I'll stop. I'm gonna blush if I talk about that thing. But yeah, took my clothes. That's what we're talking about. Shelley, this is very helpful. Thank you, Shelley. Michael, 1111. There's only one. There's only one. There's only one. There's only one. Valuable. Thank you. Shows unity. Sue, thank you. Holly, yes, love the comparison between the different teachers and finding common threads. Thanks, Holly. Robert, love Father with all your heart is key. What you think is what you become. If a person turns all of themselves toward the divine light, you become the light. That's like the universal secret of the divine presence. You become what you seek. It's the most beautiful universal law. Canadian Lighthouse. Hey, Canadian Lighthouse, way over there in Calgary. Good morning from sunny blue Calgary. Please remember to like Peter's video. Hey, Canadian Lighthouse. Quiet energy. The illusion of being separate is very powerful indeed, but still an illusion. It is very much an illusion and very powerful. Worldly wealth and pleasures keep so many souls tied to this place, like the smell of nectar of a meat-eating plant to insects. Oh yeah, the Venus flytrap. Come into my parlor. Diane Nugent. Contentment comes from the realization it is a journey and not the destination. God is a verb. Isness is the now. It's not about the where you're going to. It's about the presence now. And Diane, you got that on the nose. Jay, the veil is thick is why so many just expect the void. Yeah, this is true. You expect the void because the veil's thick. But if you seek it now, you find it here. And seek it by being naked. This is about the nakedness of my own brain, to strip away the ideas of myself. Hey, David, out there in Colorado. Yes, Tom. It's either love or fear. We choose with every thought. Good morning, Chris in North Hollywood. Brother Ed out there in Oklahoma. A favorite illustration of our oneness is the image of one full moon being reflected in many waves on the ocean. Oh my gosh, I don't know that. Well, that's brilliant. One full moon being reflected in the many waves on the ocean. I love that. Maslow's self-realization. I have to remind myself. I don't remember that. I've read about Maslow's, but it's not on the top of my head, Mary. self-realization, actualization. If I'm not mistaken, because I know what self-realization means and I know what enlightenment means, but self-actualization, I think it means the same thing. Um, but it has not to do with the little self. It has to do with the ultimate higher case, uppercase self. All right. Hey, Penny with the heart. AJ, Adi Shankara compared Maya with the illusion of a magician in his Advaita Vedanta and based his teachings on the discovery of our true self, stripped of our false selves. It's over the place. It is all over the place. Among the mystical geniuses, those who find the oneness of being, that's what they talk about. Mystical geniuses, mystical oneness, mystical union, Jesus, Lao Tzu, Adi Shankara. They seek this one thing. Stay connected to your spirit, says Mary. Agree, says Kathy. Even Al knows. Even all knows. Who told me I was naked? Who told me I was naked, says Tom. And that's also from Genesis. All right. I'm going to skip down to the bottom here. I went pretty far back up. Um, let's see. I started at the very bottom here. Where am I? Where the heck am I? Uh, I love what you have to say. And not church sounds good. So maybe we're sticking with not church. My mind is dropping many thoughts today, says Tom. Um, I like the name Not Church. So we're getting votes for Not Church. You like the name Not Church? Let's do a vote this week in the poll and YouTube, and then maybe we'll stick with that. The Because I want to give you what you want. I want to give you what you need. I want to give you what's helpful. That's really why I'm doing this. Because the truth is, I have my own interior journey, and um, I'm in my own pursuit, and I'm still a seeker, and I'm still a student, and it helps. Writing does help me think, and research does help me, but I'm really trying to do this to help you, help us, help society, help individuals find this thing inside themselves, this thing with a capital T, this no thingness, this light. And once it's found, you live this. You now know this, and you have this inside yourself forevermore. The comparison is very helpful. The same thing said in different ways helps things click inside your brain. Oh, that's very good, Victoria. In the state of flow, you can be naked, says Sylvester. Yes. See, one of the things that happens in not church is that we all have this mystical experience in our lives. Most of us here, maybe even all of us who come to this, we've all had mystical experiences, and it teaches wisdom. And the wisdom is always the same, even though it's apportioned differently in different aspects of it. In the state of flow, we become naked. That is that's the thing. Thanks, Sylvester. You'll miss my presence the next couple of weeks. Thank you. Safe journeys, productive writing. Yeah, so the writing's going well. I'm waiting to hear back from one of the producers from the last chapter I submitted. Producer one says, "Oh, excellent." Producer two is reading it this weekend. So we're going to continue on that. Writing sure is fun. Yes, you really appreciate it, Betty. Thank you. As always, helpful. Thank you, Diane. Love the name. Not church is healing. Thanks, L. Okay, I'm hearing you. Okay, I'm hearing you. Forgiveness, love to all. Letting one's heart rule your mind. Letting one's heart rule your mind. Thank you, Sylvester, for the super chat. I really appreciate the support people give. There's some people here who like give every week or every month, and people who give occasionally. And I couldn't be doing this without your help. And I thank you. I thank you. I thank you. I thank you for helping me do this. Appreciate it very much. Not church was the name that attracted me out of curiosity. Not church is what brought me in. Okie dokie. I'm getting the message. Not church sounds so rebellious. I like it, says Martha. Not church sets it apart. Okay, not church drew me in. Not church says it's not what people have known as church in the past. It's helpful to find you in the message. Oh my gosh. Clarifying. This is a crowdsourcing. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody. Clarifying how all the wisdom traditions have been saying the same things. They do. They say the same things. You strip away the theology and the doctrine and the dogma, and you find this inside it. agree with Candyman. Not church is freeing, sets it apart from organized religion. Because, thank you, Holly, because, mysticism eschews organization. It's repelled against it. Mysticism doesn't fit into tradition, and not church doesn't either. Yeshua and Father are mystics in nature, of nature. My vote is not church as well. David, I seek alignment of a divine nature with my human nature and can do so with my clothes on. Thank you very much, says Peggy. She didn't say thank you very much. Yes, you can do this with your clothes on. You don't have to strip naked, okay? You don't. You don't. You can do this with your clothes on. Okay, I won't even say what I was just thinking. My mind went off in a wild place. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, says Candyman. Thanks. Thank you. If it's not church, what is on the flip side? Instead of saying not church, what can be on the loving spiritual side, says Sue. Not church says freeness. Okay, so I went with not church in the first place because I was trying to break myself away from church because I got such a church reputation in New England and Maine, and because of not because of what I did on television, and also I'm not. I really wanted to explore these people that were exploring again, Rumi and Lao Tzu and Meister Eckhart and the mothers and fathers of the desert. And I want to bring everybody into the party. This is a huge banquet table. Everybody's welcome. There's lots of food at the table. There's in heaven's feast. And I want everybody at the table. Buddha, Lao Tzu, Muhammad, blessed be him. Not church, says Sue. Okie dokie, everybody. Not church. Not church it is. Oi. Okay, so the other reason why I went not church in the beginning was because of pseudo Dionysus. Every negative theology, everything you say, everything a person says about the divine is incorrect because of conceptualization, because of ideas, because of language. So that's where that came from. But okie dokie, everybody. All right, let's see if I can. There it is. All right. Thanks for being here. I'll see you at the top of the hour. I'm going to turn on the Zoom in a couple of minutes. The link is below. Thank you, thank you, thank you for spending time with me. I appreciate it. Um, sometimes I get discouraged. That's that old hymn. Yeah, sometimes I do. I get discouraged in the world. I don't get discouraged inside myself because I know where I'm from and I know where I'm going, but I do get discouraged in the world sometimes. And your enthusiasm and presence here and support makes it like, okay, I'm still on the path here in the world. All right, brothers and sisters. I'll talk to you soon. Tom Dewey, peace to you, brother. Peace, Holly. You're welcome. Peace, Robert. Thank you so much for your work. Thank you, Quiet Energy. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Peace and love. I'll see you in a little bit. All right. I should show you this before I go. What a klutz. Knocking over the plants. This is Jesus on a stick. Okay, it's a pencil. I stuck him back there because I wanted him to like, hey, everybody. He's an eraser, but I haven't used him as an eraser. But I thought I'd bring him in because he's been sitting on my desk for the whole time. That's where he is. Okay. All right. I'm partial to not church. Heaven's feast, Sunday feast. Thanks, Sue. Thank you, Vineyard Worker. All right. Peace and love, everybody. See you soon.